Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 97 of Pucking Around Podcast. We got a great episode for you today. First off, the Olympic rink. Guys, is it ready? Well, Luke Tardif, president of the IIHF, thinks so. So we'll see. Surging teams. Last week we talked about free falling. This week we're gonna talk about teams on a run right now. And are they full or are they full real? Full meaning fake in French. Anybody wondering? And the New York Rangers, is it curtain call on Broadway? Are the lights going out? Panarin on the move? Who knows? We will discuss. And joining me on top right there is Mr. Matt Naughton. Matt,
What's going on?
what up, Matt? And to my other way.
There you
We got my buddy from Flyera, Alex Burnett. What's up, Alex?
You know, Eric, I'm in a good mood today. You know why I'm in a good mood?
Why is that, Alex?
I mean, we're getting close to the Olympic break. I mean, Flyers are playing all right. I have lost the last two, but we're still in the playoff spot. But something else has me in a good mood. You know what that is?
Oh, I have an idea, but let us know.
Let me show you. Your New England Patriots have moved on to the divisional round of the playoffs. Led by great May with 334 human yards yesterday. En route was 16-3 ass whooping of the Los Angeles Chargers. The Patriots defense completely shut the Chargers down all game. Christian Gonzalez lockdown defense. Milton, Super Bowl champion from the
Dude, he hit Justin Herbert so hard on
that. No, not that one.
No.
Why
Put that away, Alex.
Dude, he hit Milton. Milton Williams hit Herbert so hard on the last sack.
I felt like I was only about halfway through my speech and the damn Penguins goal song came up. I should have did an extended version of it so I could have continued my speech. But man, that Pats game was awesome yesterday. Absolute hitting spree on Justin Herbert. The defense was lights out. Gonzalez, lockdown corner as per usual. Marcus Jones with one of the plays of the game, tackling Justin Herbert in the open field early and midway through the first quarter to make them go for it and miss that fourth down. Milton Williams with a hitting spree on Herbert. Christian Ellis, completely underrated. Those Pats, they got me in a good mood today. They got me in a good mood.
Oh, yeah. Jennings hit really high, too, on the same drive there. I think it was the first sack of that drive. He was, again, he just went right up the middle like he was shot out of a cannon and popped him.
Absolutely. That was a great game. And we will find out tonight if we play Houston or Pittsburgh in the second round. But this is the hockey pod. I had to get that little football moment off my chest because I'm in a good mood. Your New England Patriots moving on to the second round.
Honestly, congrats, guys. You know, my birds kind of let me down, but you know what? I saw that coming this year. I felt it. So let's get back to topics on hand. As you can see, I'm wearing it's an Expos hat, but
for those who are listening through Spotify, he is indeed wearing a Montreal Expos hat with Italian colors on it. Looks very nice, I have to say.
Ooh, it's very pretty. So what else is happening in Italy this February? Some might ask, what's going on there in February?
Games of the Winter Olympiad.
But guys, the ice might not be ready. The ice might not be ready, right? Who knows? I don't know. Apparently, I don't know, guys. It looks like it might be right. It might be ready.
It's gonna come down right to the wire, man. It's
it shouldn't be, but it is. You know what?
The locker rooms haven't been built yet. The bathrooms haven't been built yet. They can't skate on the practice rink yet. They're still building that ice up.
But the main ice is ready, apparently. Now,
apparently,
they had a watering can on standby.
they did have was it yesterday or like a couple days ago? They had Coppa Italia for like the Italian hockey championship. on that ice, it seemed to hold up. Now, look, was it
a big hole appeared in it?
That big a hole?
Not that big a hole. That was blown a little bit out of proportion.
Something
So
like
I don't know. Like
small.
It's still a hole.
You know,
still a hole in the ice.
I don't know. Like, so look, I don't know, Alex, if you could bring up like the first image.
Yes, absolutely, my good man. Let's bring up some of the imagery we have right here. I apologize. Hold on one moment. So Chris Johnson puts out a tweet from earlier on today stating Don Moffat, the ice master at the Milan Olympic Arena, says in a statement provided by local organizing committee that he is, quote, happy and satisfied, end quote, with the surface so far. He says the hole that appeared during last night's game, this was actually, I think, tweeted yesterday. My apologies. I thought it was today. Is, quote, in line with the usual process. So, gentlemen, that being said, what do we think?
Look, like I said, they did hold games there. They did have 3 games in one day, and I think 2 the previous day. And it seemed like it was holding up. So, like, look, with another 3 weeks to go before the Olympics, 3 and change, I guess. I don't know, man. It's looking positive.
It should not have gotten to this level, though. That's the only crazy thing. It should not have gotten to this level. The fact that we're racing against the clock, even if it is looking positive, at least from an ice perspective, or more positive at least, than I should say it was 2 days ago. But at the same time, the fact that we're even having this conversation shows you the level of concern I still have. The lockers are still not ready. We'll show that shortly.
Yeah.
The plumbing's still being worked on. The lighting still looks semi-dim. It looks better, but I still think it could use a little more work. And will this ice hold up for 3 weeks of games with professional hockey players going lights out versus, just amateur players skating on the ice? It's apples to oranges a little bit. Like, I get, maybe not apples to oranges is the right expression, but it's pretty much small sample size versus the big sample size. Hopefully this isn't an issue and we're all just worried for nothing. But, after all that time wears on, we'll see how this holds up. Hopefully, again, no issues, but the fact that we still don't have lockers done, we'll show that picture shortly. We still have issues with plumbing. That's still
as of today, one of the locker rooms, they just put the frame up, so they still got to have the drywall guys or whatever go in there. They got
so much. Here's a picture of the locker rooms. This is actually a couple days ago. I apologize. It wasn't today. This was 3 days ago. But still, how much more do you think got done in 3 days? Like, still a bit of a concern, if you ask me.
Oh no! Look, Grant. Look, I think the ice surface, I'm pretty sure will hold up. It'll be fine. Like, it seems like it's going well. The rest, like we said, I think the rest is going to be a big issue. This is going to bring back some of these players to like minor hockey. Like when you went into these old barns where it was like these stripped down locker rooms where maybe it was just like a bench in there or something. And it's like, you know what? At the end of the day, you know what? You wanted to play. Yes, I understand. Maybe it's not up to NHL standards. It's not what you're used to, all that luxury, these new buildings that they built, you know what? But this is going to show. This is for the love of the game. You know what? Like, okay, yeah, the locker room's not done. Like, who cares? I'll sit on, like, I'm sorry, I'm in the Olympics. I'll sit on a bench. Just put me on some kind of bench in there. I'll put my.
You gotta have lighting in there. You gotta have a toilet. Guys gotta take shits. Like,
it's all right. It's all right. Well, I'm sure the toilets will be in there, but
guys gotta take showers after the game. Otherwise, it's gonna smell like fucking Pepe
shower at home
all around the arena.
When we played minor hockey, we showered at home. All right. Today's these spoiled athletes want to shower at the arena. Come on, what are we talking about here?
Oy vey. It's oh my god. So we're not even going to be able to shower at the arena now for the Olympics. Oh my God, we're gonna have walking stink bombs coming out into the open street going back to their hotels. That's gonna go pleasant.
Oh man, nah, but look, at the end of the day, like, they still got 3 weeks. Hopefully, like I was listening to 30 Thoughts today, and they were talking about like, look, there's things that most probably will not be ready, and it's gonna, I guess, be up to the players if it's fine with them. But you know what, like I'm sure they'll get like they can at least have the plumbing in like 3 weeks from now or whatever. At least connect something, so maybe that won't be as much of an issue. But like I think like Matt was like maybe the walls won't be completely up or something. But you know what? Like, look, at the end of the day, if the ice is good to go and like we can have hockey games there, you know that's what's really important at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. Listen, the end of the day is we need the ice to hold. That's the primary issue. Obviously, everything else needs to be done too. But the primary issue is if the ice can stay stable and we don't have any issues through the Olympics, at least it was passable. Still a nightmare it even got to this level. I know I sound like a damn broken record at this point, but it's at least passable at this point. So get through the Olympics with no issues, and I'm happy. What will scare me is if one of these ice issues leads to a major injury for one of these guys. Like imagine, God forbid, there is a small hole in the ice, and a player ends up getting an ankle sprain from accidentally going into it mid-game or something like that. Like I doubt it happens, but it's a possibility. It's something that we're talking about. The fact that we're even talking about it scares me, but like I said, we're 3 weeks out, and hopefully this is an issue that can be avoided, but we'll see. We'll see in a couple weeks.
We'll see. Matt, any last words on the Olympics?
Yeah. You got another picture to show, too. Hold on, just to not leave this here. This is the original picture of said small hole that apparently was fixed in 5 minutes. Flow Wire says ice was really good. I was surprised how good it was, and it will only get better. Sounds like a certain politician we all know, but we're not going to get too deep into that. But yeah, when I'm looking at this right now, like I said, just make sure that's the only issue. Make sure this is why you're having these test games now. Make sure this doesn't become a constant with the ice. And hopefully we get through this unscathed. We have a lot of star power there. God forbid you have like a McDavid or a McKinnon or a McCarr or a fucking Crosby or a whatever get hurt. It's going to fuck it up for the NHL fans. So my big thing, make sure everyone gets out with that injury.
Yeah, that's that is very important. Like hopefully, I mean, it's something you can't control, right? Because like, look, even with perfect ice, you always risk injury going to any tournament. So, but let's just hope that like the ice isn't really like, and the conditions aren't the cause and like the game at the end of the day. All right, so you know what? Let's take a little drive north from Italy to France, and I'll go back to my full. So full or full real. There are 4 teams recently that have been on a tear. The Buffalo Sabres, in their last 14 games, 13-1. The Toronto Maple Leafs, in the last 10 games, 7-1-2. Tampa Bay, 9-1 in their last 10. Seattle, 8-1-2 in their last 11. Guys, these teams are flying high right now. So, Matt, I'll start with you. Who's for real and who's not?
Who are the? I know you said Buffalo and Seattle. Who are the other 2 teams?
Toronto and Tampa.
Well, Tampa, I think is legit. I think they'll finish in the top 3 spot. Toronto, I think they could end up making their way back into the playoffs. My issue is like, how sustainable is it? Like, do they, will there be a rut or something that, kind of brings them back down to earth? I don't know. But of the 4 teams, those are the 2 that for me have the best chance of, again, kind of staying, where they are sustaining that. I don't think Buffalo and Seattle can sustain it at all. Again, I think with Buffalo, I think it's pretty much just new GM, new kind of front office boost, if you will. Again, I don't think it's going to be that sustainable. And, with Seattle, I think just riding the high point in the season right now. But again, I think overall, I don't think they can sustain that either.
Well, look, I'm going to shoot you some numbers, okay? Because and I want you guys just to give a little more context into like all these teams' streaks. So the Buffalo Sabres, okay, in those 14 games where they're 13-1, they played 6 playoff teams that are currently, as of today, in the standings. 6 teams that are in the playoffs. They're 6-0 against those teams, and and out of those 6, they beat as like a big they beat Dallas. Like Dallas is a top team. Like Edmonton, like now they're playing better. So anyway, Toronto in their stretch of 10 games have played 4 teams that are currently in the playoffs, 1-1-2. Tampa Bay are 4-0 against playoff teams, and Seattle is 2-1-1. So I don't know if that gives like a little bit more context into like these recent surges. But like one thing for me, especially that really like that I noticed, especially when it comes to Toronto, because Toronto was really struggling at the beginning of the season, and now all of a sudden they're on a little hot streak. But like you look at who they've been beating, and they've been beating like some teams that are either like really struggling or just out of the playoffs. And even again, in Toronto, their wins against playoff teams was actually it was against the Flyers, and it was a 2-1 win in overtime. Like they lost to Detroit Detroit's in the playoffs right now. They lost to Detroit in overtime, and they lost to the Islanders in overtime. So I don't know, like Alex, what do you think, man? Like, does that seem to you like a real hot streak, or is it kind of like I said, it's a fool, like it's fake?
With Toronto, I still don't think Austin Matthews. I mean, he's been playing better lately, but I still wonder if he's going to be like what the Austin Matthews of old we saw was. Obviously, Nylander's still out too, so that's obviously an issue. I think Toronto is kind of like in the middle for me. I think they could still get in. I don't think they're going to be at the bare minimum a top 2 team. I think their ceiling is 3rd in the division if they even get in. But I still have issues with their depth. Yeah, I mean, losing Mitch Marner has obviously been a bigger issue to them than we thought. They still have injuries in net. I don't think is Joseph Wall and who the fuck?
Dolars is still hurt.
Dolars is still hurt too. So I think if I would lean more fool's gold, but I kind of put it like if this is the line of the middle, I put it like right here. Seattle, I put it like right here. That team, that's fool's gold. That team still has so many issues. They still can't score consistently. They don't have enough offensive firepower to keep up with the big guns in the league. That's fool's gold. No disrespect to them. Tampa's Tampa. Now, I know I've talked about issues with their
Tampa's legit though.
Yeah,
Tampa's played really good.
They've won 9 in a row. As we speak, they're currently winning again tonight. That team's a wagon.
God damn it, they're so good.
I predicted last year that they would finally fall off because of Vasilevsky's back. I was dead wrong in that take. Now, obviously, they're not the team that won these cups. I still think they need to add some depth before I can really say they're a true contender again, like a top 3 contender, because I think the top 3 contenders right now are probably all out of the West, the big 3. But I think Tampa might be 4th, them or Carolina. But at the end of the day, I think the biggest issue with Tampa still is their depth. And they still don't have Victor Hedman back yet, if I remember correctly.
No, they don't.
And then Buffalo?
Yo,
I want to
believe
believe
right
Buffalo.
now.
I do. And they've won 13 of 14. That's an incredible run. They've been They've been scoring at will in all the games that they've won. They've scored at least 3 goals, which is impressive. But Buffalo's done this before. And I want them. I'm rooting for that team. That fan base deserves something. They've been miserable for 15 years. You shouldn't be in the same sentence as the New York Jets in terms of infamy. They deserve a little something. But I'm right now, they're kind of like Toronto to me. Like, here's the line. They're right here. It's not the fact that I don't think they're playing phenomenal hockey right now. But when they go in an eventual slide again, will it be something that holds them back? And can they, keep the ship right when that moment happens? Because again, now mind you, usually it's at the beginning of the season, the Sabres have these hot starts and then they fall back to reality. This year it's happening kind of in the middle of the season. Now, go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say that's kind of why, when I talked about Buffalo, I kind of said it for me, it's just more or less the new front office boost, right? Because this all started happening after they got rid of, I don't even remember his name. That's how bad he was.
Adams.
Yeah, they got rid of Adams and they brought in a new GM and, he kind of cleaned house a little bit, brought in new assistants. So, I think for me, it's just kind of that. I think it's just a new kind of GM boost. Usually it's a new coach boost, but, I think, new GM can kind of do things too. Kind of lighten the mood in the locker room, make the guys, kind of like playing for Buffalo a little more. So I think it more so has to do with that. And, I think eventually they will fall back down to earth. I just don't think where they're at right now, I don't think they can sustain it. I don't think that, they'll really be able to kind of hang around with, again, the kind of the better teams in the league right
now. No, look, I don't know. I think I'm a bit of a Buffalo believer. I've said it for the longest time that there's so much talent on that team. It's just not clicking. And it's just for whatever reason, it's just not working. And one thing that gives me a little bit more hope is actually that GM change. And Kekalainen, maybe he'll see what's going on right now, and he sees the Atlantic Division is up for grabs, man. Honestly, Tampa Bay, yeah, look, they're gonna run out. I think they surpassed Detroit right now. I think they're in for. I think
Braden Point just got badly injured as we speak.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah, there goes his Olympic roster spot. He can't put any weight on his leg.
That's fine.
Oh, that sucks. I feel for the kid. Cam York just landed right on his leg. Yeah, he is putting no weight on his leg. I'm sorry to interrupt. Continue. I just wanted to bring that up.
No, I saw that too.
An interesting development.
Oh man, yeah. If you feel for the kid. But yeah, no, look, sorry. Well, like I was saying, the whole thing, the whole big thing with Craig Adams was Craig Adams. Yeah, anyway, is that he was very gun shy, didn't so where Kekalainen is I think he'll see where the team is going. He sees what's happening right now. And he's the type of guy he won't be scared to make a move. He'll add if he has to add to just give them that chance. Because look, I'm sorry, the Atlantic to me is wide open. I don't think they've had as good a chance as they do right now. Because Detroit, who I'm actually surprised are where they are right now, honest to God surprised. The Canadians are a very good up and coming team, so that pretty much expected them to be exactly where they are, and Tampa's Tampa. Yeah. But look, Boston, yeah, look, they had a really hot start to the season. They've been okay since, Toronto, like we said, Toronto's been on a bit of a rise, but I think that like Alex said, I think that's fool's gold anyway, because like I said, they haven't really been beating the best teams. They've just been feasting on bottom feeders. So look, I think this is the best chance for Buffalo. Honestly, I think this is honestly, I would not be shocked if they made the playoffs. And like I said, they actually, in those 13 games, actually beat some really good teams in there. So, look, is it gonna happen? Who knows? If I was a betting man, I'm sorry, I'd bet playoffs. So for me, out of those four, Buffalo and Tampa for me are for real. But unfortunately, Toronto and Seattle, look, Seattle's they've had a weird season too. Like they've been up, down, up, down, up, down.
Mm-hmm.
But the West has just been weird in general this year. So yeah, no, but I really don't believe in Seattle. They're a very good defensive team, but they just don't score. That's the issue with like look, sorry, I took on these numbers before. Seattle in that 11-game span, 2.7 goals per game. That's not a lot, but they've allowed 2.18. So it's like they're just very tight defensively, but they can't really score. So I don't know. Could you possibly make the playoffs that way? Maybe in like a weakish Western Conference, probably. But
yeah,
I don't know. Like for me, I still think Seattle's fake, Toronto's fake, but Buffalo, Tampa are for real. Matt, who do you got for real?
I think we can all agree Tampa's definitely for real. The real thing just comes down to, can Buffalo keep their level of consent? I'm not saying win 13 or 14.
No.
But keep a pace that keeps them in a playoff spot. I feel bad for them. They're 13-1 and they've made a small amount of ground because the whole fucking Atlantic is on fire outside of Ottawa because Ottawa can't get out of their own way. But aside from them, the entire damn Atlantic, even the Bruins have won 3 in a row suddenly. Like, the whole freaking division's caught fire. And they're gaining nothing on these teams because they just keep running into good team after good team after good team where, in terms of gaining ground, they get the 1 year where they're not friggin' gaining ground on these teams because everyone's around them is good. Of course, it's not. If they were in the West right now, they'd be in a playoff spot by like 8 points. But I might be exaggerating there. Maybe it's like 6. But either way, where Buffalo is right now, they just have caught such bad luck in terms of being able to gain any ground on anyone. But hopefully, like I said, I'm rooting for them to make it. I want to see the Sabres in. That is a team that has suffered enough for the last 15 years and have a team that doesn't deserve. Who the hell wants to see the New York Islanders in the playoffs? Seriously. No disrespect. Minus Schaefer because he's exciting. No disrespect to them, but I'd rather Washington slide into a top 3 spot and the Isles foul out because that team just puts me to sleep. So give me someone else other than them. Let Buffalo take their spot or something like that. But yeah, at the end of the day, hopefully they can keep the sustainability is what it comes down to.
If Buffalo was in the West, they would either be second in the Pacific, and they're 4 points up on either wildcard team because both wildcard teams have 48 points right now in the West. So yeah, they'd be in a pretty somewhat comfortable spot if they were in the West. So, oh man, but all right. Any final last words on this topic?
I think we covered it pretty well.
Good. All right. So next up, the New York Rangers. Boys, in the 23-24 season, the Rangers had 114 points, and they were the President Trophy winners. In the 24-25 season, they then missed the playoffs with 85 points. They were 11th in the West, 22nd in the league.
The Rangers play in the West now?
I know. I think you mean the East.
Excuse me. Sorry. 11th in the East and 22nd in the league.
Go look at a map.
Currently this season, 46 games played, 20-6 record, 46 points, 14th in the East, 24th in the league, on pace for 82 points. Guys, is it time to blow it up again in New York?
It has been time to blow it up in New York since last year. Listen, the way their GM has handled things has been a joke. Listen, I don't like Trouba, but the way they sent him packing was a joke. They sent Barclay Goodrow packing a few years ago was a joke. The way that team has been handled is a joke. Panarin's probably on his way out. And you know what? I don't feel bad for this team. And not because they're a rival, but because they cut corners on their rebuild. They had an Adam Fox land in their laps. They had an Artemi Panarin land in their laps. They had these stud players. They won a lottery to get Alex Lafreniere, who doesn't look like a first overall pick at all, mind you. Like, they've had these lucky bounces that have gone their way. And they finally, and you know how they decide to try to bolster this team? They bring in the locker room cancer known as JT Miller, who had no business, absolutely no business being on that Olympic team this year. This team's a mess. There's a bunch of guys that don't want to be there. They're in denial about the fact that they think they can still win now. They brought in Mike Sullivan as a head coach who, mind you, I still think is a good head coach. But let's be honest, when you take over those Penguins teams back in the mid-2010s that were fucking loaded, the 2016 Penguins, as much as it sickens me to say this, is probably the second best team of that decade. The only team in that decade I'd say that was better is the 2013 Blackhawks. That's it. Other than that, in the 2010s, I'd take them over any other team. That team was a wagon. The 2017 Penguins, not quite as good, but still damn good enough to win the cup. And then I know they haven't won in a little bit, but those Penguins teams in the mid to late 2010s were stacked. Even in the early 2010s, they were pretty good too. They had made a conference final in 2013. Mind you, he wasn't coach then. He took over in 16, I believe. But the point being is Mike Sullivan inherited a really good roster. And I think that kind of overrated his value a little bit to the point that the Rangers felt like, and listen, I'm guilty of this too, because I wanted Sullivan in Philly, but it didn't. And now I'm starting to open my eyes a little bit and realize maybe this guy isn't the coach I thought he was. I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but with the dysfunction in New York right now, he wasn't the right hire there. It probably wouldn't have been the right hire here because we're not a team that would have been ready to compete right now anyway. The Rangers need to blow it up. They need to start selling off. They need to get a big package for Panarin, especially since the deadline is going to be minimal sellers. They probably should consider moving on from Zibanejad. They already moved on from Kreider. They need to make some moves, man. This team needs to look in the mirror and accept it's over. You're not a cup contender. You're not a cup contender. Adam Fox is hurt right now. Igor Shesterkin is not going to bail you out right now because he's hurt. They allowed 10 goals last week to the fucking Bruins.
Yeah, Jonathan Quick, not that quick anymore.
Oh, my God. It was a shooting gallery in the Garden. The TD Garden, that is. Because speaking of the Garden, this team can't fucking win at home. This team fucking blows at home. Of course, we were one of the few teams that they beat at home. But that's besides the point. This team has been shut out, like 6 times at home? Something like that?
Didn't they score like 1 goal in their first 5 games or something at home, or their first
something like that? That team, they all of that combined should tell you all you need to know that it is time to blow it up. They're not a cup contender. Move on. It's time to accept that this cut quarter rebuild did not work the way you wanted it to. You didn't even make a cut. Never mind win one. Oh. It's time. Rangers, stop living in the delusional juice. Blow it the fuck up.
Yeah, no, honestly, right there, you got it right there. First of all, like you said, the rebuild, the half-assed rebuild, you had an aging team, aging roster. You actually went in the right direction, but then like you said, Panarin and Fox all of a sudden said, no, I only want to go to the Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's let's put everything on hold. Let's stop this rebuild right here because you know what? We got it. But problem is also in those 2 years that you were actually trying to rebuild, the picks that you got did not pan out. Nothing panned out for them.
Capo Caco.
And then the worst part is they trade Caco for a depth defenseman, a 3rd and a 6th. And look, I'm not saying he's being a world beater in Seattle, but he's contributing. He's contributing.
Capo Caco is not a bad little hockey player. He's really not.
He's
a
not.
Good depth guy.
But he didn't get along with the coach. I think it was Vigneault at the time. No, not Vigneault. Sorry,
wasn't it
Lavi? I always get them confused. Just didn't get along with Laviolette. Just didn't work out. Look, Lafreniere 2 years ago, not last season, the season before, finally looked like the kid was gonna break out. like actually was putting up good numbers. Then who the hell knows what happened there? But now like not panning out whatsoever. And none of the other picks too. You would think like a second rounder, a third round, something would pan out. Nothing is panning out. And then you have Chris Drury, like just like you said, like the way he handled Trouba and Barkley Goudreau, awful. And then you make these weird, stupid trades. It's like I remember at the beginning of the season when we did our preview episode here on PAP. I said, I go, one, this team has no offensive depth, none, and I didn't understand trading Keandre Miller. Like you basically just destroyed your second pair to bring in somebody to play on your first pair with Fox, but now like you have no second pair and third pair. So, and then look, Shesterkin, like as bad as the Rangers are this year, as bad as they are, he still before getting hurt, he had a 15.5 goal saved above expected, a 913 save percentage, and a 2.45 goals against average. These are Vezina numbers. These are Vezina numbers.
Like Carey Price for like the last whatever the fuck 6-7 years of his Habs career after like the 2018 season.
To play that well, and your team is not even close to a playoff position. Like, wow, how bad is the team in front of you if not even those numbers can save your season? Like, no, guys, Zibanejad, no one's trading for that contract. Ryan
the
Miller,
Rangers would have to eat a shitload of money on that deal.
At least half.
Half.
Same thing with Miller. Even if you want to get rid of Miller now, like you saw what happened in Vancouver. You see what's going on right now with the Rangers. Are you going to trade for this guy? Maybe Trocheck. Maybe Trocheck might have some value. Maybe. Other than that, what the fuck else would they have? Nothing. They have nothing.
You want to hear something crazy?
Go for it.
Crazy stat with the Rangers. So I brought up how bad they've been at home. They've been shut out 6 times at home. They played 20 games at home so far. You know how many of those games they've scored at least 3 goals in?
It's only like
0.
1 or 2 of them.
No, it ain't that 0. Bad. They scored 5 against us, remember, Eric.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's right. 1.
No, it ain't. Out of 20 games at home, you'd say an average team probably in today's NHL school is about, let's say, 2.7 goals a game, more or less, I'd say.
It's even close to 3 now, I think.
Oh, well, it's close to 3. So we'll say, if you want to round it to 3, for argument's sake, sure. You know how many times they've done that in 20 games? 6.
In all seriousness, okay. I was going to say 7.
6 times. That is the same amount of times they've been shut out. This team has been abysmal at home. They are 5-11-4 in the friggin' MSG Garden, Madison Square Garden. That's a joke. It's supposed to be one of the best home ice advantages in the league. And they have just played so pathetic. I don't know who is a bigger gong show in the East right now. Them, the Devils, or the Senators. Those 3 are having a battle right now. Now, one thing I will give at least the Rangers and the Devils is at least they have their first-round picks. Looking at you, Ottawa.
God. That's rough. That's rough.
They friggin' had theirs taken away. I mean, mind you, I thought the punishment was a little excessive, but that's
that was excessive.
But besides the point. But the Rangers, man, back on track. The Rangers, it's time. Look in the mirror. Realize Panarin's not re-signing. He has no reason to. The guy's going to be 35 soon. You're not a cup contender anymore. What the fuck incentive would give him an opportunity to re-sign? Why? So you can keep kicking the can further down the road to give more false delusions that you still think that you compete? Yeah, no, go ahead. Time to rebuild, buddy.
Yeah. Look, talking about Panarin, right? So there's been rumors out there, like obviously like this Friedman was reporting that apparently this summer that the Rangers approached him and to see if he would take something similar to like the Kopitar contract, like the last contract that Kopitar took, which is basically like a team-friendly contract, a little bit less than what he would probably deserve. And Panarin said no. Panarin said no.
I don't blame him.
Sorry, like pay me. Like, look, I'm going to just throw you some numbers. In 45 games, he has 16 goals, 33 assists, 49 points. So he's over a point per game still.
Playing still really good.
Yeah, 61% Corsi, 54.5% expected goals for when he's on the ice. Compared to the team, okay, 49.23 Corsi and a 48.80 expected goals. So he's way exceeding expectations over the rest of his team. So, like, look, you're going nowhere. The team is going nowhere. Let's make Panarin go somewhere, and let's actually start this rebuild and actually do it properly.
The correct.
You got to get rid of Drury to do that first, though. And I
agree. He should not have the keys to that rebuild. 1,000% agreed.
You know what I would say to kind of counter your point, Alex, about Mike Sullivan. Like, I think Mike Sullivan's a really good coach.
Oh, I do too.
I can't give him a lot of the blame here because I just think so many players don't want to play under Chris Drury.
Oh, I'm not blaming.
I think that front office destroyed the morale on that team, and you know, for Mike Sullivan, it's like, you know, how do you coach a team where majority of the players just don't want to play there? Like,
no,
I don't care.
listen,
like, you know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I still think he's a very good coach. I said two main points really to my argument was, number one, I thought that those loaded Penguins teams made him look a little bit better than he was. Not saying he's bad, but
no. And I know you're not saying he's bad, but I just think for me, I just think it's more so just how bad the front office has been and how bad
he was not the right coach for them. Is what it really was. They needed in my opinion, a newer, younger coach. Actually, no, you know what? Because they got so many vets. Maybe not even that. Just a coach that would be a little more hard-nosed. I want to retract that statement. I don't think a younger coach would have did them much well. They needed a hard-nosed coach, I think. That could have put this team, like, maybe even a torch reunion would have been interesting. But I don't think Sullivan was the right guy for them. But they're in trouble.
I mean, I'm gonna have to disagree there. Like, I think Mike Sullivan could, you know, he could really be leading him somewhere now. I just think, like, nobody wants to play for Drury.
No,
like, they've seen the way that he treats the players. Like, you know, I think that's the big issue there. Like, who's gonna play for a GM like that? You know, like, you know, for all intents and purposes, like, could care less about you. Like, you know what I mean? You see, you know, there's a lot of GMs now in the league, newer GMs that, you know, it's the opposite, of that, right? Like, I'll talk about Montreal there in that aspect. Like, as smart, you know, it's using Gorton a bit, and, you know, obviously bringing in the right talent, things like that, signing the right contracts. Like, every single player that's playing under them now or that's dealt with them has had nothing but the best to say about how, you know, how they treat their players and how much they respect their players and, you know, kind of their input. And I think it's, you know, you need kind of GMs like that. And I just don't think Chris Drury is that, or I don't, Jack Drury, I forget his first name, but
Chris Drury. No. Yeah.
I think it's Jack Drury. Is it Jack Drury?
No. It's Chris Drury.
Oh, yeah, Eric's right. It's Chris Drury.
Like, I just don't think, you know, we've seen it. Like, Chris Drury's just not like that. I just don't think the players really feel happy playing there. You know, I think the Rangers need to clean house in the front office, and they need to move on from the vets. I think they need to tear it down to the nails. I think just tearing it to the studs isn't going to work. They need to tear it down.
That's when you need to bring in a young coach. When you're
right,
ready
exactly.
To do that,
you bring in a younger coach to kind of teach, you know, the youngsters that, you know, they'll bring in with picks or whatever that they might get. But, you know, and until they bite the bullet and finally do that, it's just downhill.
They're going to be in mediocrity land.
Yeah. And look, to touch on what Matt was saying, again, with Mike Sullivan, like, honestly, I was a little bit surprised that he even took that Rangers job. Because, again, you look at the team, other than
Did
Panarin,
you see the money they paid him?
But yeah, I guess. But like other than Panarin and Fox, like what real talent is there on that team? That's why I was a little kind of shocked that he took that job. And going on to Drury, like, already the team was having issues with you. Okay, the team was having, like, They didn't want they didn't want anything to do with you, but it's like there was clear issues there. So when it was time to name a new captain, what does he do? Instead of like maybe, throwing your team a bone, like saying, okay, let's mend the fences. Everyone wanted Trocheck to be captain. Let's give Victor Trocheck the captaincy. He's been here for a while. Like he's a great guy in the room. Let's give it to Trocheck. Nope. I'm gonna trade for JT Miller and I'm gonna name him captain.
Yeah. I mean, hell, you could have
do that.
Like you could have like I think he's still an alternate too, but like Zibanejad's name, you could throw in the hat. You could have been a captain. Like he's a player I've always admired. But yeah, and then you go and you bring in
like Zibanejad.
JT Miller, who destroyed the Canucks locker room, and you make him captain right away. And he's done jack shit since they got him. He's done literally next to nothing.
Adam Fox is another guy you could have mentioned to be captain.
You could have made Adam Fox captain. Yeah, that would have been a good pick.
But no, they make the worst guy they could have picked. The most entitled player on that team. The guy who oozes current generation New York Rangers hockey. And I say that in a bad way. Ugh. Just a big ugh. What are you doing?
I didn't get, and like I think it was even on the Friedman. I said it like early on in the season. I was like right after they had named him captain. It was like it seemed to him like it was a move like with everything that was going on in the locker room with like them kind of turning on Jury, being Jury. That was a message to the locker room saying like, no, this is still my team. This is my guy. He's the captain now. And it's like again, why are you constantly trying to alienate your team? Like it just doesn't. This is not the right thing to do. And the fact that Dolan, the owner, came out like about a week or so ago and gave him like, now again, this could go the opposite way, but like he gave him the vote of confidence. But it sounds like it's like it's always scary. Oh shit, he just got the vote of confidence. Like I mean, he might be getting fired soon. But the way everyone in the media was talking about it was like, no. Like Dolan really trusts Jury, and he thinks Jury is the guy. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't see it. I really don't. And unfortunately, look, if Panarin is gonna get traded, now look, Panarin has a full no move, so if he does move, he's gonna dictate where he goes. So I don't know if Jury is the best guy to maybe make this move, but you know what? At the end of the day, I'm kind of stuck with him right now. And I'm curious, actually, Alex, if Panarin's available, right? Where do you see a fit for him somewhere? Is there like one place you can think of where you think like he would be like a great fit at the moment?
You're gonna call me crazy. I don't think this team would do it because it's a rival of the Rangers. He'd fit well in Long Island. I've been saying for a while, the Islanders have needed some winger help. Imagine him on the wing with like Bo Horvat. And I know I just crapped on the Isles for playing boring hockey. I'd change that statement real quick if you had a guy like Teddy Panarin to go with them. They got good centers. Bo Horvat and Matthew Barzal down the middle. Imagine, I mean, it would take an overpay. It's in the division. It's a rival. It's not going to happen. But you're telling me about a fit? The Isles make a lot of sense. That's a team. If we're talking from a realistic perspective, Carolina. Yeah, no, they've been looking for
I don't know if the Rangers trade him in division, though.
You know what?
Yeah.
That could be a team that, I mean, they're in the division too, but that's not a rival. That's just a team that's a division rival. It's like us trading with Columbus. We always trade with Columbus. Yeah, they're in the same division, but we always find ways to make moves with them.
Yeah, but when you're talking about a player like Panarin, like he's one of those guys where you don't want him in your division if you're gonna move him. Like,
but
that's a historical precedent. Like when you're trading guys like that, typically GMs will do everything they can not to trade him with.
I know, I get it, but if you're in a rebuild at the time, who cares? You're not competing. You're just trying to maximize the asset.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
A reason to have them overpay.
What do you guys think? Because now look, they got some cap space with somebody they could put on LTIR. What about Dallas? I know.
I was thinking about Dallas.
I know they're probably looking for a defenseman,
but they still have to pay Jason Robertson. That's a big thing.
Yeah, but it would be a pure rental. It would just because look at it this way, right? Their division. What did we see last episode? Colorado, them, and Minnesota. Guys, one of these teams will be out in the first round.
Yep.
You
I just
gotta
thought a good team.
You have Taylor Seguin's money. You have his money.
Let's have some fun with this. You know what team that just came to mind that I think is finally ready to take some level of a step? I know they're not going to compete, but in my opinion, I think they're both in a better spot and a better team than the current version of the New York Rangers. Why don't we give Macklin Celebrini a real winger?
That's what I was thinking too.
Why don't we give Macklin Celebrini a superstar winger?
Oof.
Let's send him to San Jose. That's a team that's ready to start making moves. And they could re-sign him. They have plenty of money.
And they have the assets to do it.
A way to suddenly put yourself in the conversation. Imagine him going there. That would get interesting.
That would actually be a very good destination for him. I think, like you said,
they made the steps. They're currently in a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have what? Do they have the most wins in that division? I'm not saying are they in first, but do they have the most overall wins in their current division right now?
They do at 23, but it's only 12 regulation wins.
Okay, fair enough. But still, they still have the most wins in that division. That means something to me. That Sharks team, they're starting to make moves. They're 23-19-3, 23-22. They're about a 500 team. They're only going to get better. You want to make a step this year to really show that you're ready to make some contention? That's a way to do it. That could be a guy that they could sniff.
Oh, man, that would be a spicy landing spot. That would be spicy. Oh, fuck. I don't know if they would do it. What about Detroit? I don't know.
You know what's funny? I was thinking about that too. Reunite him with Patrick Kane and DeBrincat.
Yeah. Well, did he play with DeBrincat or did DeBrincat come after?
Oh, he might have been after, but
I think DeBrincat was
with Aaron.
Yeah, because DeBrincat's not that old. Panarin was in Chicago like a long ass time ago.
I think he played with him for 1 year. Don't quote me on that, but I think he played with him for a year. But
if I had to guess, I would say no, but could be. But look, they're a team that's a little bit overachieving right now. They got some I don't think they're one of those teams I would give the biggest offer because I don't think they want to give up on because they're still kind of in that rebuild, coming out of the rebuild. So I don't think they want to give up young assets for rentals at this point. But depending on the price, because again, he has a no move. For whatever reason, if Panarin says, I'm only going to go to Detroit, I don't know why, but if he says Detroit, I don't know. I could say that, but it's a team that I think could use him. But, we'll see. We'll see. Anybody, any last thoughts on Panarin? Matt?
I think I'm good, but I do have another topic I think you guys would be interested in touching in.
Go for it.
We had a firing in the NHL today.
That came out of nowhere, huh?
Yeah.
Wait, who got fired?
Dean Evason out in Columbus.
Blue Jackets fired the head coach.
Oh, man, I completely missed that. Okay.
I put it.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, that was not expected.
It happened, I think, around 5:30 in the afternoon.
I was watching Stranger Things with my daughter. That's probably
why. Who was it? Who'd they say it's taken over him? I made a short on it, but I'm blanking on the name.
I have to find the graphic. Hold on.
Don't ask me. I didn't even know what happened. But wow, wasn't this only his second season or third? No, I think this was only his second.
I think it was his third. And I kind of, I'm quite surprised that they did this now.
Rick Bowness is going to be the head coach.
Rick Bowness, that's who it is.
Rick Bowness. Wow. Okay.
I'm kind of surprised at the timing of it because I don't think he was really all that bad of a coach. I mean, you look what he did with that Columbus roster last year. and they overachieved. No disrespect to them, but they overachieved. And I mean, when you have a tragedy within the team and you have something hard to play for like that, God bless and rest his soul, Johnny Gaudreau, that's lights a fire under the team. And with that being said, I think like they didn't have that spark that they had last year. You know, they just fell short of making playoffs last year, and this year they haven't had as many bounces go their way. They've been a team that's just been kind of stuck in their own way. So I was a little shocked. I figured he'd have a little more leeway because this Columbus team doesn't feel like it's ready to compete yet. But I do have to say, I thought they were going to be better this year. Don't get me wrong. I actually had them pegged as a wild card, but I guess I kind of overestimated them a little bit. So I don't know. I got to say, I'm a little.
They're only 7 points out of a playoff spot.
Yeah, but they also have every team.
They're also last in the East.
Yeah.
Well, no, 100%. But
I don't take
one of the assistants
with any grain of salt. I take that with a grain of salt.
Oh look, Rick Bowness is not a bad coach. Like
no.
he was in Winnipeg for a while there, and
yeah,
he has had success. You know, like, and I think maybe like you said, like Matt, like you just said, oh, but they're only 7 points out. I think maybe this is why they did it now, is because like you know what, we're at the midpoint of the season. If by firing Evason, it's gonna light a fire under this team. And like maybe like change the mindset, like you know, like and get these guys going, because how many of these guys are underachieving this year for Columbus? Like Kent Johnson, who had a breakout season last year, all of a sudden like completely regressing. Monahan's not having the season like that he had last year. Like Voronkov, like these guys are struggling this year, and I just why I who the hell knows? So. I think, you know, it's like the saying goes, right? It's easier to fire one coach than 22 players. So at the end of the day, I think like maybe this was the move to make before we get crazy and make like a big trade that like, you know, to really shake up the room. So like, honestly, it really sucks for him because I don't think, like you said, Alex, I don't think he's a bad coach. He is a good coach. Like he's had success previously even before Columbus. So yeah, just honestly, it really sucks for the guy. It really just sucks that they couldn't at least somewhat replicate. Columbus couldn't replicate what they did last year. It's really sucks, man.
Yeah, feel for the guy, but you know, like Columbus obviously has a bigger aspirations than I think they should. But hey, crazy shit can happen.
Oh yeah, this honestly, this was a very disappointing season for Columbus.
Oh, for sure.
So far, so. All right. So anybody with any last words before we close out?
No, I think that'll do it here. Just
we do well.
Yeah.
Like, comment, and subscribe, everyone. Like I always tell you.
Exactly.
Appreciate each and every sub. I believe we're at 329 last I looked. I'll take a look right now just to double confirm that. Yep, 329. So help us at our goal to 500, please. We're 171 subs away until we can officially be monetized. So please, each and every sub, like, comment, goes a long way. So please don't forget to hit that like or sub button or comment something.
Exactly. Please like, subscribe, help us out, drive to 500. You know, we do our best. We do what we can every week. Putting out content there. Don't fucking around. Flyer, high brew. Soon what? Habs Normal is coming to our page now too.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, not to give anything away, we're gonna give you a little of a teaser. not that something separate. We might have a little surprise for you guys in the near future. Also, one last thing to mention, we are getting close to our 100th episode. We will be going live for that. Please join us for that. We'll be doing some fun giveaways. Give us some topics to talk about for that. It'll probably be right around I think it'll be the week of the Olympics start. So 100 episode is coming up. Please join us for that. It's going to be a fun one. It'll be a live stream. And we may have a announcement maybe by then. Maybe it'll be a little after. We'll see. But something big is coming to the channel soon. I'll just keep it at that. But Eric, would you please lead us out?
Yeah. So everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. And we will see you again next week. Ciao.
Promise you you'll catch me.